Welcome back to the tutorial, everybody. Now this is where things are going to start getting very interesting. We're going to start to take a look at control structures, and this particular video is going to be dedicated to the if statement.
Nice.
Now the cool thing about this is we can have something happen under a certain condition, and we can have something not happen under a certain condition.
Right.
So it makes the program a lot more dynamic, a lot more exciting, because it's doing things as it goes along.
And it's a very easy to use control structure.
And it's a very commonly used control structure.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to let Brian explain a little bit more about the if statement, and then we're going to actually implement one and show you how it works.
Okay, so you pretty much have a comparison of two things.
Okay.
Or more things.
Yeah, it could be many things.
So if this one thing is equal to this one thing, then we'll do this. If this is greater than this one thing, then we'll do that.
Right. Okay. So that was the simplest way I could have explained it. So why don't we take a look at it in action?
Okay.
Why don't we do a simple cin where the user will input a number between 1 and 100.
Okay.
1 and 10.
Okay.
And if it's below a certain number, we'll output this. If it's greater than a certain number, it'll output this. And if it equals a certain number, it will output this.
Okay.
That will take a look at the three basic if statements. And we'll also take that will also introduce us into the else if.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just take a look at the if statement in its basic state. I'm going to do int x, and we'll just close that off. I'm going to ask the user a number between 1 and 10. Hopefully I spelled everything right. Enter a number between 1 and 10.
Okay.
So then we'll do a cin, and we'll cin x.
Okay.
Why don't we first check to see if the person entered a number between 1 and 10?
That's a good idea.
So what if somebody entered 11? What would happen? Or what if somebody entered 0? What would happen? So we could do something silly like this. If... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me explain this as I go along. The basic if syntax is this. If, condition, and then we can have a block. We don't necessarily have to have a block, but it makes things a little bit easier, especially for having more than one line. So I'm going to erase this block, and if we need a block, we'll code it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why don't we do this? If x is greater than 10, or, right?
Right.
These two lines right here means or.
Right.
So what I'm saying here is if x is greater than 10 or if x is less than 1. Now this doesn't include 1 and this does not include 10. It's outside of this range.
Right. It's not less than or equal to.
Right.
It's just less than.
Right. So in this case, and just for prettiness, I'm going to space over twice and type cout error. Does that work?
Yep.
And the program. So let's just test this real quick.
Okay.
Let's make sure it works. F9, and we will save this as... What do you think?
If.
If? Works for me. Let's do 11. Error. Nice.
All right, now let's try it again with
0.
5.
Let's do 0 real quick, just to check the lower end.
Or negative 5.
Negative 5. Error.
Error.
Error. Now let's make sure that it works with the numbers we want. Let's do, what, positive 5 you say?
Yeah.
Ah,
Perfect. Yeah,
you like that? You like that? Cool. So, first we're checking to make sure that the numbers are within the range that we want. And now what are we going to do?
So now we could also do this a little differently.
All right, lay it on.
We could say if x is less than or equal to 10 and greater than x is greater than or equal to 1.
Right, so that puts it between the range of that.
Right. So let's try that out just to kind of show the and instead of the or.
Okay. So show me.
So you could just change the greater than x. All right, that works.
I'll just undo what I did. I'm going to erase this. And all right, so if x is
less than or equal to.
Less than or equal to, that's the less than and the equal to sign side by side.
Right. Equal to always second.
And,
which is
so
ampersand,
we'll do
ampersand.
2 ands here.
Right.
And that's shift 7.
So ampersand is and vertical bar is or.
So let's, all right, vertical bar, for those of you that don't know what that is, might have been confused as to what we wrote on the screen. It is shift backslash.
Right.
So if you do shift backslash, you get the vertical bar.
Right.
Okay. And that's very common in a lot of computer programming languages. So if you've programmed before, you should be accustomed to that. If not, you've learned it now.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so now x is greater than or equal to.
Greater than or equal to.
1.
1. So this is checking to see if it's within the range that we have. So if it's between these numbers, then it's good.
Right, so maybe we'll do cout valid.
Here's what we'll do. We'll create a block of code because within this we're going to have nested if statements. Right?
Okay.
And then we'll do cout good. And then we'll do introduce you to another statement here.
The else statement.
Else.
So if it's this, do this. Else or otherwise, do this.
Yeah, so this, if it's between these numbers, give us this. If it's not between these two numbers, do this. It's a very simple concept to grasp. And our code is starting to fly down on the screen a little bit. Sorry about that. So let's run this real quick, and then I'm going to actually shrink the font size a little bit so we can all view this. Okay, so what if we do -5 again? Bad. F9. 11. Bad. F9.
10.
10. Good. You like
Nice.
that? Alright, now just you guys can pay attention or not. It's no big deal. We can go to Tools, we can go to Editor Options, Display, and we could change the font size to, we say 10.
That works.
10 should be viewable.
Alright, that's nice.
Looks very beautiful to me. Okay, so now we have these conditions. Now within this condition, we're going to have what's called a nested if statement, and this is an if statement that exists within an if statement.
Right.
So we're checking to see if this one condition is true, and within this one condition, we're going to see if another set of conditions is true. Else, bad.
Right.
Okay. So
long as it's good, maybe we'll have the option of if it's less than 5 or if it's greater than 5.
okay. So we'll do if x is less than 5, cout small.
Else?
Check that out. Else if
Yeah, there you go.
it's the equivalent. It's just basically saying if this isn't true, if this isn't true, test to see if this one is true. Else if x is greater than 5
or equal to.
We're not doing equal to.
Okay.
I'll show you why. Because we're gonna test for equality here in a minute. Because we got to show the operator for equals.
Right.
So we're gonna see if x is less than 5. Else if x is greater than 5. Also notice this doesn't include 5. 5 is excluded from all of this. Cout big. All right. Now we could actually do else and then default to
Right.
equal to 5. But just to show you guys an operator for equals, we can't use a simple equals because that is the assignment operator.
Right.
And we're actually going to have a discussion about operators later. At least we plan to. So let me just write it real quick. Else if x is double equal to 5.
So if you want to store something, it's 1 equal. If you want to compare two things to see if they're equal, 2 equal signs.
Jackpot. You've guessed the secret number. Yes, so explain to me the assignment operator.
So if you only have 1 equal sign, you're going to attempt to store x as 5.
In which case, x will always equal 5.
Right.
So this if statement right here will always be true.
Right.
Because you're making x equal to 5, therefore x is 5.
Right.
So x will always be 5. So this is the comparison is the double equals. We're actually saying, are these two equal?
Right.
Instead
Does
of-
x equal 5?
Instead of make these two equal, which is the single equals.
Right.
So if we have programmed this correctly, what this should do, it should ask us for a number between 1 and 10. We will input a number. It will then check to see if this number is within the parameters that we want, and that will be inside this block. If it's not inside the parameters that we want, it will tell us that it's not. And within those parameters, the nested if statement is going to check to see if it's a small number, if it's a large number, or if it is the number that we want, which is 5.
Right.
Good deal? Let's run this. F9. Okay, so I'm going to just enter 3.
Okay.
Small. Good.
Go.
F9. Let's enter 6. Big. All right. We enter 5. Jackpot.
Nice.
Very simple way of testing numbers using the if-else control structure. I really can't express how important this one is, and as we go about programming, especially as we get into really, really cool stuff, this is going to be an important factor.
Very much.
Anything you want to add?
Nope.
All right, we're going to move on.